Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another tutorial. Today, we're going to be taking a look at bow pirouettes. Amazingly, this is now my third video on the subject of bow pirouettes. So if you're looking for some helpful pointers on the technical aspects of bow pirouettes on the flat, you can go back and check out the videos that are linked in the top of the video right now. But today we're going to take that knowledge and apply it in the river context, in a hole. The bow pirouette is such a fun move to experiment with. It's visually impressive. It requires relatively little effort for quite big results and can really help with your boat control, especially when things don't go the way you planned on the riverbank. A bow pirouette, simply defined, means rotating the boat in the Z-axis while vertical on the bow. This can be controlled with either reverse pressure on the backside of the paddle or through crossbow strokes. We'll take a look at both of those in this video. Before you can start spinning around, you have to get comfortable being vertical on the bow. To do this, the first thing to practice is simply plugging the nose of your kayak into the seam of a hole. It may take some repetition to dial it in, as the hole will want to reject your kayak's volume in the path of least resistance, which isn't always predictable. But getting accustomed to reacting to this rejection is a really important step. While some holes will necessitate a more explosive kick down on your feet to push the bow into the seam, generally I would suggest taking it slow. Focus on keeping your weight neutral or slightly forward, using gentle reverse strokes to keep the kayak perpendicular to the seam line as the toe back naturally pulls you in. When the nose approaches the seam, apply gentle pressure through your feet by imagining that you're bringing your chin up over your toes. This will drive the nose down into the hole. Once you've got the hang of getting vertical on the bow, it's time to start spinning. As mentioned, there are two methods of sustaining a pirouette, reverse pressure or crossbows. But to get the rotation going on the bow in the first place, the crossbow is by far the more common and simpler method. To do this, approach the hole just as we've already been practicing. As you approach the seam and are starting to put pressure through your feet, reach across yourself and plant your blade approximately parallel to the boat. A parenthesis here. Whenever we start talking crossbows, there will inevitably be some concern about shoulder safety. If you're someone who struggles with unstable shoulder joints and worries about dislocation, I'd suggest giving this one a miss. There's plenty to enjoy in freestyle without placing undue strain on your body. Regardless, before you go throwing crossbows, always ensure that you are well warmed up. I'd also recommend strength and conditioning exercises, like the ones in this previous video. With that said, you're aiming to place the paddle across yourself, roughly parallel to the boat, with the inside face of the blade taking pressure from the water. You can play with feathering the blades to reduce or increase this pressure. Thank you so much for tuning in to this tutorial video. If you found it helpful in any way or you're enjoying this content, then please do drop a like down below and share this wherever you feel comfortable. As the channel continues to grow and I push towards the 4,000 subscriber mark, which blows my mind, I'd really value any shares, any likes, any comments, anything like that that you can give that interacts with this video and increases its visibility to the algorithm. Likewise, if you're here for the first time and you're enjoying what you see, then please do consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so that you know when I've got new videos coming out. It is a free action for you, but it means a huge difference for me. So thank you very much. All right, let's get back to the tutorial. Crucially to beginning your rotation though, is that you don't try to reach too deep. Ensure this by keeping your back elbow high. We also don't want to hyperextend here. I find that keeping my elbows slightly bent helps me to protect my shoulders too. Likewise, rotating your torso towards the side you place your paddle will massively reduce strain because it brings your shoulders more onto the centre line of your boat. From here, the vital thing is leading the turn with your eyes and head. Look the way you want to go, as you steadily stand up and unwind that crossbow stroke back across your body. Depending on the nature of the hole you're using for this move, results at this point will wildly vary. Some holes will produce more of a rejection and pop out, something more explosive. Others, like my example here, are more vertical and will want to grab and hold you. The former may well lend itself more easily to big, visually impressive rotations, the sort where reaching ahead of the turn for a second or even third crossbow stroke could be useful to you. In a stickier, more vertical hole, reaching for a second crossbow is possible, but it's quite likely that the reverse pressure method will come in handy too. By the reverse pressure method, all I mean is applying a similar stroke to the sort we use when bow stalling, planting both blades on the water's surface and applying pressure through the reverse face of the blades. It takes a bit of experimentation and feel, but this method can be particularly useful if the boat begins to flatten out, but you still have some of that rotational momentum. By performing a rapid edge transition while using this reverse pressure method, you can continue that rotation another 180 degrees and push the stern back up to vertical. As with bow stalls, I find this can require some fairly drastic backwards and forwards motions with the torso to maintain balance. It's all a matter of experimentation. Another time the reverse pressure method may come in handy is in ending a bow pirouette that's gone over vertical. By pushing away with one blade on the water's surface and crunching forwards, in effect quite like a low brace, you can redeem a pirouette without getting too wet. Once you start getting into the realm of multiple rotations, then edges become very, very important. Showing too much edge too quickly to the upstream flow is likely to cause you to go over vertical and fall onto your face. But showing too little edge just means that you won't rotate at all. You need to open out your upstream edge just enough to be catching that upstream flow and continuing the rotation as you come back to facing upstream. As with many parts of this move, it's one that requires quite a bit of experimentation. Once you've made a start with bow pirouettes, it massively opens up your options for freestyle, building huge comfort on the front end of your boat. Thank you so much for tuning into this video, and if you're hankering for some more kayaking tutorials, YouTube suggests you watch these.